Okay, here we go. Lisa and...
Hi everyone, I'm Elisa Parker. We're broadcasting live from the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. 15 years we've been celebrating this incredible festival where here in little downtown Nevada City and also Grass Valley, California, thousands of people have come here. I like to say it's the tribe shows up, right? The change makers, the everyday action heroes come, people who are really making a difference in our everyday lives. And it's so important to have this platform to be able to amplify these stories and voices. I'm just thrilled and honored to have you here with us, Gary Snyder, poet, Pulitzer Prize winner, and how lucky we are to have Gary here in our community. What did you say earlier, Gary, about communities or towns?
Towns are like nature. They continually are going through changes. You know, like businesses change, animal species change, like that.
What kind of changes have you seen just in reference to that point since you've been living here in this community? You said for what, over 45 years?
45 years ago, I moved up here and built a house, and I've lived here ever since. The main change has been that it has gone from being a mining and logging community, post-mining and logging community, to a outlier of Bay Area culture, with a lot of retired people moving up here, and the elections going more toward the left.
Yeah, that's been fairly new recently.
Yeah, well, last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you here with us at Wild and Scenic. And this year, you and Tom Killian are... Now, you guys have done, what, 3 books together?
3 or 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
What is the one? Okay. What do you know, what was the last one that you guys just created together?
Well, the very latest one, actually, I had very little role in, but it's called The Wild California Coast. And it's a collection of prints and some very good text that Tom wrote about the whole culture of the California coast. Wonderful essay on Robinson Jeffers.
Who was Robinson Jeffers?
Robinson Jeffers was the most important poet in California through the 20th century and is known worldwide. He's a bestseller in Poland.
In Poland?
Among other places, yeah.
So he's someone I definitely need to check out.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I definitely do. And tonight, Gary and Tom are doing a presentation. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you guys are going to be doing?
Well, tonight, part of it is the collaboration of the poet and the graphic artist. And in our case, we've been friends for many years. And we've been out in the Sierra and out along the coast together on various trips and explorations. That's part of it. Another part of it is trying to speak to the good work that Circle is doing with this particular watershed and its 3 rivers, the South, the Middle, and the North Yuma. And I'm going to read some poems which deal with rivers and water, and a few other topics too.
What have you been involved or active regarding the Centennial Dam?
I haven't done a darn thing yet.
Nothing yet, but now you're at the Action Hub, Gary. So I bet there's postcards going around that we could. That's one way to at least somehow start getting into action around that.
Well, I'll get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so Gary, you're a Pulitzer Prize winner. I've never interviewed you before, and I was curious. When you received that award, how did that shift any way in the work that you're doing, or just how?
No, it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
No, and that was way back in 1974.
Yeah,
I've done a lot of work since then.
You have.
Some of my best and most difficult poetry comes after that time, and some of the things that I've actually been awarded are much more interesting than that.
Yeah.
So I don't think too much about it.
You don't think much about it.
No.
What is one of the poems that you could think of offhand when you say some of your better work came out of that? Especially that might be relevant for the times that we're dealing with right now.
Right now, I would mention my book-length poem called Mountains and Rivers Without End, which I'll read some selections from tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and did you and Tom come up with helping to create the theme at Wild and Scenic this year at the Edge?
We were all talking about it.
You were all talking about it.
I don't, you know, we're talking as kayakers, river runners, but also as mountain climbers and rock climbers.
Yeah.
You know, and so like there's all sorts of edges, not to mention political.
That's true. So I've been asking everyone this question about being at the Edge.
Uh-huh.
What's been a moment for you when you've been at the Edge and you either had to take off to take that leap of faith, or you knew you had to go beyond the edge to make a positive impact?
Well, I'm an old mountain climber. Okay. You know, so part of mountaineering thought is the concept of the margin of safety. And so the edge is a place where you don't kill yourself. You go right up to it, and you are very bold right to the very moment of the edge. But then you say, whoops, we're not going to do this one today. The weather isn't right.
Yeah.
Or something. So that's an even more sophisticated concept.
What do you feel like for right now, and just especially around our political climate? Because you're still doing incredible work right now. So do you think about that, like putting yourself out there and what that might look like?
I am, but I'm not talking about it.
You're not talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Like yet, or just not talking about it?
Well, I think 4 years from now we'll have another election.
Yeah. I think, or hopefully less than that too, Gary, really.
No, I wouldn't hope for that.
No? Okay. All right. What's been, in being a mountaineer, what has been one of those wildest moments for you? Because we talk a lot about, too, here at Wild and Scenic, like being, wild, like being integrated into the natural wild world. And I'm just curious for your own experiences, what's been a moment?
Well, there are literal and there are metaphorical ways
true.
of talking about that. So I've had some literal moments on climbs where it was dangerous enough, but I would push on and do it, like on Mount Hood up in Oregon. Mm-hmm. And then there are, much more dangerous and much more strange are the things you have to do with your own intellect and discover where your mind can take you.
Mm-hmm. Going to say any more about that? No more about that. Gary, what do you want to say to everyone who might be watching this? Maybe they've never been to Wild and Scenic. I guess there's two parts of this question. First, what do you want to say to the folks who maybe have been that armchair activist and they've been kind of a reluctant leader for a variety of reasons? What would you want to say to them about why the time is now really to step into, I always like to say, their fullest potential, or step into their own personal power?
More literally, I would say it's time to get out and walk on your own literal legs. Walking is a great exercise, and you learn a great deal by putting other kinds of vehicles aside and doing long walks. That's what I like about the Bear Yuba Land Association.
The Bear Yuba Land Trust.
Land Trust that has a great array of weekend walks every weekend, yeah.
You said you walked down here today? Or you were walking around town?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah. This is so small compared to where I am that, walking doesn't count here.
It doesn't count. Gary, you've been in this community for so long. What are some of the things that you love most about this that keep you here in Nevada City?
That I don't see too many people, for one thing.
So this is a big deal to come out to Wild and Scenic, right? Because there's a lot of people.
It is a big deal. And what I'm still thinking about right now is what happened to the forests on my land because of beetle kill recently, and I had to have it logged, and a lot of the trees went to China. And I'm looking at the recovery of the landscape from such a heavy-duty logging.
Pine trees?
Ponderosa pines, yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge thing we're dealing with right here in our area. I know in Southern California, they were dealing with that maybe about 8 to 10 years ago. And
they're going to have to continue to deal with it because they didn't get enough rain this time.
Wow. Yeah.
So far.
Yeah. So that's one of the things.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
And what would you want to say to everyone about why it's so important to engage and come to a festival like Wild and Scenic?
The environmental movement and the environmental conscience is a new thing in politics. Back in the 40s and 50s, it barely surfaced. This is a component of the new political consciousness that is going to be under attack in the next 4 years, and we're going to have to really fight hard to defend it. Because every time they say we don't like regulations, what they mean is we want to be let loose to do whatever we want. So I would put it that way.
All right.
Yeah.
Gary, thank you so much for being here at Wild and Scenic. Thank you for being an integral part of our community and for being here. Gary's presentation with Tom is happening tonight. It's sold out.
Well, that's
actually,
good.
so that's good news, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's great news. Anything you're working on right now?
What am I working on right now?
What are you working on right now?
I'm working on a collection of essays about Japanese culture.
Oh, interesting. That's pretty good. That's good.
Well, I have to do it. I've already written the essays, basically. I got to edit them now.
Okay. I love it. Gary's making things happen. You're walking the talk, Gary, and that's what I love. All right. I'm Elisa Parker. Thank you so much, Gary Snyder. Amazing poet. So grateful to have him and honored to have you here at the 15th Annual Wild and Scenic Film Festival. I'm Elisa Parker, Gary Snyder, and I'll be right back.